What's going on, guys? It's Morgan here. It's a little late, but I wanted to share some thoughts that I've been having with you guys as I recently just came up on my 20th birthday. Um, it's been a fun 2 decades so far. I wouldn't trade it for anything. The experiences that I've had have helped shape who I am today, and I wouldn't be where I am without anybody in my life and all of those experiences. So, without further ado, I want to talk about family first, real quick. Now, family is uncertain, it is unsure, and not permanent or eternal. It is something that you are born into that is incredibly powerful growing up. Helps form all of your different social groups and helps push you to teach yourself, or your parents help teach you certain principles and ideas that will help you in the future. Now, I learned myself kind of earlier in this decade that family is not guaranteed in the slightest, as I had lost both of my parents, my mother when I was 12 and my father when I was 14. And though they had made great impacts on my life, I was left stranded, kind of confused. And the other immediate family that I had in my life had started coming in and made a wonderful impact on what they could and how they helped me grow. And it's almost like, obviously, it's like this unwritten thing that you're kind of closer to your family than you are to anybody else. But this is not to say that family is exempt from fair treatment. Praise them for their rights, damn them for their wrongs, that kind of thing. But I do want to talk about, because this is one thing that I've had to do as a part of losing my parents so early, is I wanted to talk about this kind of synthetic family that you can form and develop as you grow up. And what I mean by that is the kind of friends that you have. I have the good fortune to have about 10 really, really, really close friends that I can say I've had experiences with, and that over this weekend and over the last little bits of my life, that I'm proud to say that I can consider these 10 people my family. And though they are not extended to me by blood, I do appreciate their bond and brotherhood and sisterhood and so on. The other thing I wanted to talk about was money, finances, and things of that nature. Now, I've been blessed insofar as that my situation is not one where I am in extreme and dire circumstance or need. However, I do want to say that from my personal experiences, that monetary comforts, things of that nature, doesn't necessarily make any of the losses easier on the person that's going through them. It just kind of has comforts that could not otherwise be had, and it doesn't change that emotional pain. And that's something that I believe people miss a lot whenever we talk about relation to each other and things of that nature. But the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about was faith and spirituality. Now, as far as that goes, the last decade has been an absolute roller coaster. I remember distinctly being in 6th grade, having the most unfounded, extreme Christian, Catholic, conservative views, intolerant of everything and everyone that didn't conform exactly to the traditions that I thought were right, and I wasn't even right about that. And then as I went to high school, I just kind of fell off the train, didn't really think about it all that much. And then after my dad passed away, I has I was really, really shaken in everything. It shook up my entire life. Me and dad, my dad and I, we were incredibly close, and I loved that bond that I had with him. And it shook my entire being to lose him like that, especially in the way that he went. I won't go into details. Maybe that'll be for another time. But I felt like my entire world was taken out from under me, and I thought I didn't need. There was no God. I didn't need a God or anything like that. But as I continued to move on and I started looking into my ancestry and stuff like that, I went through the kind of neo-paganism that I believed my ancestors practiced, and I mean, somewhere along the lines they did, but I digress. I came to it because it offered a mystic world full of divine powers that were not unreachable, and I was offered gods that saw men more as kin than as subjects. However, as life went on, I was about 18 whenever I came back to Catholicism, and I've been holding steady ever since. I converted back to Christianity in general because an ex-girlfriend of mine was pretty Christian, and I mean, it was kind of weird at first because it's like you go from all this kind of stuff to uh, just it's a completely different rule set and a completely different way you have to think about eternity and how you have to look at mysticism and stuff like that. But now I'm a conservative Catholic, and just I'm a lot more measured in my views, a lot more methodical, philosophical. I don't like to preach or bash or hate anybody for their views implicitly, and there there is a nice chunk of life that I do think we do need faith for. I think religion is a great mechanism for helping us give a concept that we need to have faith in, because there's a lot of things that don't manifest themselves in existence, like the future. Whenever we talk about the future, we're talking about it like we would God. Like, we don't know what the future is going to bring. And I think that's something that if we're going to talk about plans that we're going to make the future work with, I think that's an incredibly important topic for where we can start to talk about the subject of faith, along with using empirical evidence and reasoning in conjunction with that faith, but using faith as a primary mechanism in which we can have the drivers move towards creating a future using reason and evidence and things of that nature. But another thing that I wanted to talk about was also lifestyle and how much that can change your entire being. Now, if I had one piece of advice to give myself, like if I was to go back to like whenever I was 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever, I would go back and tell myself to become more physically fit, to put up with the pains of having to exercise and get over that kind of thing, because it teaches discipline, and there's so much more that could have done for me that I didn't even begin to imagine until I was older. Like, for example, I I quit Boy Scouts because I didn't think that it was worth it. And the merit badge that made me think it wasn't going to be worth it was actually, ironically, personal fitness. But now here I am. I have my heart broken over a botched thumb, and I'm going to be out of the gym for 2 weeks. And that's like sitting on me like a ton of bricks. But I digress. But anywho, I just want to share this quick thought on my 20th birthday. I want to thank you guys for listening. And if you want to hear more stuff like this, give a like, comment, subscribe, and signal blast this. Get it out as far as you can, because even though I'm just a man and a microphone, I do believe I have stuff to offer to this world. But you guys make it possible. Take care and have a good night.